Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park, committed suicide on July 20th, 2017, 4 days ago. Here's some stuff I figured out in the last couple days. For the 2 days following Chester's news of his death, my social media was bombarded with love and respect and how Linkin Park has improved and changed their lives for the better. It was full of well wishes for his family, for his wife, and his 6 kids. But on day 3, I started reading things like this. Chester was selfish and weak. What kind of a man would kill himself leaving his kids without a father? A real man would have grown a pair and just sucked it up. Now his wife can find a real man. I even read a post that said, now the world is better off because it doesn't have this weak individual in it anymore. Selfish and weak. If you're anything like me, this irritated the shit out of me. To me, this is one of the biggest things that adds to the mental health stigma. Depression has a range. On the low end scale, it's that feeling of sadness and a little bit of dread when you're at Subway and you ask to put mustard on your sub, but instead, they put mayo. On the complete other end of the spectrum, you might have zero energy, you might not be able to sleep, you might not be hungry, you might have not exited your room in 3 months, and you might commit suicide. Putting the wrong sauce on your sandwich, ending your life. In between those is everything else. And just because you experienced level 2 doesn't mean you understand what level 10 is like. I got put in this Facebook group where I was reading all these comments, and there was some nice comments and there was a lot of mean comments. It started with this article that talked about Chester wasn't thinking about his family when he committed suicide, and it was a very selfish. I started reading all these comments about people agreeing with him and saying you're weak and you're selfish and people with depression and blah, blah, blah. And I kept thinking, if anyone who is suffering from a mental health disorder or depression reads any of these comments, that's not going to help their situation. It's only going to make it worse. So I got scared. I started responding to these comments in hopes, hey, maybe I can shed some different light and a new perspective on some of the situations of what people are thinking about. I sent out facts. I sent out research articles. I sent out some of my other videos I've made. I tried metaphors. I tried to be as polite as I could. But like religion and politics, after 5 minutes, I realized this is no use. I was spinning my wheels and we weren't going anywhere. And then I started questioning, why am I making these videos? Why am I even trying if there's these people out there who just don't get it? And these videos are trying to help those people understand a little bit of what's going on in other people's lives. And then I had this thought that maybe I'm just approaching it wrong. I had therapists tell me for years that one of my biggest problems with me to overcome is I hate stagnation. I hate feeling like I'm not moving. It drives me insane. And I haven't quite figured out where that is or where that's come from, but I still have it. So let's just embrace it for a minute. Instead of trying to educate and kind of push back and give them information, what if I opened myself up and just tried to find some common ground with them? Why do you think Chester is selfish and weak? One of the answers I got was, I have kids of my own, and I would never make my kids feel that way. Ever. And then I just responded, I totally get that. When I'm in a depressed storm, I feel weak too. I also start to think that everyone around me would be better off if I just wasn't around. That I am causing more harm in people's lives than I am creating any type of good. And when my mind frame is warped and distorted like that, ending my life is more of an honorable thing than a selfish thing because I'm protecting the people I love, making their lives better by not having me in it. And that's the disease of depression right there. That's what happens. Telling someone to think better and more rationally when the disease transforms and distorts your way of thinking, it's like telling somebody who has Parkinson's to just stop shaking. How can you tell someone to think rationally when the disease they're trying to fight creates irrational thoughts in your head already? Obviously, Chester and myself, when I was in there isn't rational thoughts being had. So my one little experiment worked, and I only did once, but I'm going to start trying this more so, and I'm scared to do it within the mental health department array world. But I've done this for years with coaching. I found that I can never force a kid, a parent, or a coach to learn. But I could show them where the water was. If you haven't caught on to this yet, I'm using the metaphor. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. To add on to this, I found that if I tried to force these kids, parents, or coaches to drink the water, they resisted hard. And if I tried to force too hard, sometimes I'd drown the coach, drown the parent, I didn't really drown them, but I turned them away from the idea completely. The depression stigma is still out there. The mental health stigma is still out there. And I guess is what I'm trying to say is it might be more helpful for me to try and see it from their perspective, find some common ground, and then at least we're both more open to navigate together instead of one person trying to force someone to drink the water. What do you guys think? What do you think about this whole situation? I'm curious as to your thoughts. Obviously, my audience here are people who, guys and girls, remember there is always options for help, and if you can't find it, reach out to me as quick as you can, and I will try to help you with the best of my abilities, whether it's just to be an ear for you or to point you in the right direction where you can get the help you need. My phone just went off. With that being said, life is meant to be experienced, and curiosity will get you there. See you guys next Monday.